One Piece, 10 Pirates with Overrated Bounties. A bounty is meant to reflect the level of threat attributed to a pirate, but some pirates have way higher bounties than their strength would call for. The bounty system in the One Piece universe is intended to categorize levels of threat to the world government based on importance. The more one challenges the established order, the higher the price on their head becomes. However, just as the Marines have underestimated the value of some targets, others are significantly overrated based on the danger they actually pose. Through determining the most insanely overvalued marks in the series, we can better appreciate the flaws in the Navy system and which targets might provide a quick payday for bounty hunters. 10. Gecko Moria was worth $320 million despite being the weakest warlord. Although Gecko Moria was a terrifying opponent with oars under his command, he was astonishingly weak by himself. This was why the world government attempted to execute him after the battle for Marineford and pass off his death as a casualty of war. With a bounty of $320 million, Moria's bounty is only slightly lower than Doflamingo's. Despite this, he was defeated by him in a matter of moments before being unceremoniously removed from his position at the Navy's side. 9. Caribou had a bounty of $210 million despite being easily defeated. Caribou was a menace with a bounty of $210 million. Despite this, he was nearly captured by the Marines after falling for Demaro Black's sham in Sabaody. Although he chased Luffy into Fishman Island, he was defeated on 2 separate instances and with fairly little difficulty. Although Caribou's status as a Logia user might raise the price of his bounty, he is worth almost 3 times as much as Crocodile. As a result, it's almost impossible to justify such a high price for a pirate whose schemes are consistently thwarted. 8. Daz Bonez had a bounty of $75 million despite his crude inflexible powers. Daz Bonez was Crocodile's most loyal agent and a man who continued to follow him after his escape from Impel Down. However, there is virtually nothing to justify such a lofty sum on his head. Not only did Bonez fail to stop Zoro in Alabasta, who was at one of his lowest points of the entire series, he was almost immediately overwhelmed by Mihawk during the battle for Marineford. Moreover, his devil fruit is extremely rudimentary and insufficient against opponents with enough physical strength. Despite this, Bonez's bounty of $75 million is almost as high as Crocodile's. 7. Usopp has a bounty of $200 million despite being a relatively weak Straw Hat. Usopp is famously known for being one of the Straw Hat's weakest members. Without the godlike power of Luffy or the legendary strength of Zoro and Sanji, he relies on creativity and precision alone to scrape out narrow victories. Despite this, Usopp is valued at a breathtaking 200 million berries. While this might be justified through the fact that he freed an entire nation from Doflamingo's plan and earned the allegiance of the Grand Fleet, it's still overpriced when considering his cowardly nature and general skittishness. 6. Treble was priced at $99 million despite being weak on his own. As a top executive of the Don Quixote family, one might argue that Treble's bounty of $99 million is warranted. However, the man is completely incompetent, as proven through his inability to protect Doflamingo or Sugar from Luffy's plans. Worse yet, he doesn't even have a Logia fruit. Instead, he's simply covered in a layer of snot. When compared with the likes of Pika, another villain with a bounty of $99 million that can literally move mountains, it's impossible to justify Treble's ranking. 5. Charlotte's bounty is at an unusually high $24 million. Charlotte Lola's bounty of $24 million is peculiarly high when considering the circumstances surrounding her. Not only was she captured by Gecko Moria for several years, the pirate's lack of powers made her presence on the thriller bark inconsequential. Despite this, she still appraised higher than Arlong, a brutal fishman who could crush cannonballs in his jaws and collapse pillars of marble with a single terrifying swipe. This is especially strange when considering how desperate Charlotte is for romantic attention and approval, which often makes her unfocused on the task at hand. 4. Demeraux Black was worth 26 million despite having no powers, skill, or notable intelligence. Demeraux Black was a villain with no powers, skill, or notable intelligence. However, with a bounty of 26 million, he is rated much higher than other pirates who could defeat him with ease, like Kuro, Don Krieg, and as previously mentioned, Arlong. Demeraux's bounty is likely due to the fact that his performance as a fake straw hat pirate spread terror across Sabaody and made the Marines look like fools for taking him seriously. Nonetheless, he was captured immediately after it was reported that Luffy had returned. 3. Broggy was outsmarted by a pirate with a bounty lower than his 100 million. Broggy was a giant with a bounty of 100 million berries. There are a number of reasons why he was overpriced. The most obvious of which is the fact that he posed no actual threat to the world government. Since he spent decades sparring on Little Garden, there was little cause for the Marines to fear him. Worse yet, Broggy isn't actually that strong. Despite having a bounty well under half of the giants, Galdino outsmarted and subdued him successfully. 2. Fisher Tiger had a bounty of 230 million despite being relatively ordinary. Fisher Tiger had no devil fruit abilities and was not even exceptionally strong for a fishman. Regardless, he had a massive bounty of 230 million due to the actions he took against the Celestial Dragons. By freeing slaves from their pens, he challenged and publicly humiliated the world government. Moreover, his actions set an example for other fishmen that if they could not achieve equality through diplomacy, they'd do so with violence. Both Arlong and Hody Jones were inspired by his legacy and embodied the darkest aspects of their race. 1. Eneru was estimated to have a bounty of 500 million despite being one of the first villains Luffy defeated. While Eneru does not have an official bounty, Oda stated that he would be worth 500 million as a pirate on the high seas. Such a sum would be completely absurd when given the events of Skypiea. Not only was he defeated by Luffy at one of his weakest points and without armament haki or even second gear. His fully charged attacks failed to kill ordinary people like the Shandorians or Usopp. As a result, Eneru would make for a high payday against a reasonably powerful marine or bounty hunter.